Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 974th edition of the Boring Enterprise Nerds Nerdletter Talk, where we rant and rave and discuss and have fun and make fun and poke fun and do all that kind of stuff with the stuff that we're going to write about in the next edition of our newsletter. I am your host today, Paul Moderman. With me, as always, is the incredible Yelena Perfilieva. Um,
Everyone.
and let's not waste any time. Let's jump in. So, Yelena, if you don't mind, why don't we
Sure.
start with your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah, no worries. All right. So, my stories for the upcoming issue of Nerdletter happen to be kind of heavily relying on the LinkedIn post, and we talked about how LinkedIn has become almost like the main source of information these days, for better
Yeah.
or for worse. All right. So first subject, SAP posted this very kind of interesting but weird at the same time SAP big picture architecture. And there is something bizarre about this huge poster. So first of all, it has not been kind of widely announced. I
Mm.
found it because someone shared it on LinkedIn. And when I tried to dig in and find was there any official news about this, because this is very pretty massive schematic. It's like as the whole trying to explain the whole like SAP world. I guess that's the purpose behind this. But at the same time,
So
this
that's a big sandwich to bite
yeah,
into.
exactly. You can see it's not even readable. And I do have PDF format, so in a minute I will open it and we will look just a tiny little bit into detail, because I could easily talk. Probably we can talk and rant, especially about this 4 hours about this whole thing. But strangely enough, this is not advertised like widely anywhere. This is not really in any news. I so first of all, you can see this document itself. It's hosted under Germany here. And I also found the same document hosted under UK for some reason. So I have no idea why it is kind of spread out under some kind of country specific, I don't know, whatever folder structure SAP uses, but it's a little bit weird. The only kind of official post about this was from this person who is a product manager at SAP. So he explains here what exactly is the purpose behind this diagram. And I do think these diagrams in general, they are usually useful for architects or for people who try to understand really, really high level of how all the little parts kind of connect to each other. However, when I see that this document provides high blah blah view of SAP, and how different components interconnect, and then there is addition to support digital transformation, that kind of tells me their marketing got their dirty paws on this diagram, and they just messed it up for
I
everyone.
like
So
there's no phrase that I like less than digital transformation.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I don't mean to go on a huge rant here, but you could put like that here. You could add sentence here. How
Yeah.
components interconnect. That's it. That's what diagram is about. If you try to, pad this with some marketing terminology, it's kind of it's just off-putting. And so also there were some reactions when people were sharing this on LinkedIn, and they want to show how reactions were essentially different. So Tobias, and I follow Tobias, so this is where I found link to this architecture. He kind of he makes comment. Has anyone calculated the cost of licensing all the involved products? So there is some funny commentary from myself included, and I think Paul, you commented there as well, and people kind of made some lighthearted jokes about it. So I think little bit of maybe sarcasm, but also I think cynicism of people commenting here, it comes with some of the battle wounds from the past, where we were tired of this marketing bullshit, and we
Yeah.
have seen diagrams like this. We have seen good ones, we have seen bad ones, and totally different tone here. So this person on the it's not really opposite end, but it's just a different. different view on this. This person is super happy that this was posted. So in my story, essentially, I will probably, as usual, because I'm more from the cynical camp of SAP professionals. Obviously, I will have some my point of view on this, but if someone simply finds a link to this diagram who have not seen this before, I think the story will not be in vain. And
Mhm.
all right, so this is PDF. So just for 5 minutes maximum. I just want to go into here and see how we can. Let's see. Let's just zoom into this a little bit more. So first of all, whoever designed this, I just want to smack that person for taking like half of the space for the big picture. You have like huge chunk of space totally wasted, while you have tiny letters here
I
that are
know.
just
I was
unreadable.
I was just
And
thinking half the reason that it's a big picture is because it says it's a big picture.
Exactly. You could just chunk off that stuff and it would be smaller picture and nicely more readable. So first of all, there are three layers to this. So this is a top layer, SAP applications and processes. So let's just kind of swoosh along the line on this layer. So first of all, best integrated and this is best is like all over the place here. I have no idea who decides what's best and by what measure. So when I see this statement, if this is meant to be architectural diagram, maybe, I don't know, maybe just skip that. Just skip unnecessary marketing, unnecessary bragging. I mean, who are you talking to, SCP? Like,
You
who
know,
are you trying to
you,
convince? This is like,
you
this
know
is
what it,
best. And I mean, first of all, if this is SAP tool, this is the only tool.
yeah, like it reads like it's like the nominees for like an Oscar, right?
Yeah,
And the nominees for best integrated tool chain for transformation are, and it's
yeah,
like the category is so small that like there's only one nominee, and
yeah,
it's like the SAP guy's wearing an SAP badge as he's reading the nominee. Yeah. So anyway, it's
yeah.
yeah.
And then, okay, so, all right, so Signavio, Linux, this is, okay, stuff that SAP needs to sell. Okay, I get it. I have no idea what cloud application lifecycle management actually doing here in this box with these guys, but I don't know. I guess there are many committee meetings on how exactly to arrange this. Also,
Yeah.
strangely, SAP BTP is here, even though it actually has like its own layer, which to me is just kind of mind blowing because I mean, maybe just like decide where it fits.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it kind of just doesn't make sense when presented like this. Also, I'm not sure why these specific partner tools are highlighted. There are
You know what
other
I like
partner
too? You know what
tools.
I like
Yeah,
about that actually?
yeah,
The little jewel diamond is on top of
yeah.
the
Let's not forget that there is a jewels all over the place. So then there are those I don't know, magenta or whatever purple colored things which are supposed to represent I don't know, some kind of processes or whatever. And there are these icons which represent like actual like people. So developers are here, build visually, pro code. I have no idea what build visually is, to be honest. And I'm a developer. So then business users, low code, not gonna happen. Honestly, yeah, whom are we kidding? It holistic steering. This is
what is
mark
that?
my marketing BS like meter is just
Pegged.
it flew out to space. Data self-service and data-driven processes. Are there processes not driven by data? I like this is just bullshit of highest levels. And then data and AI engineers, which I I think SAP tries to make this role happen. I don't think it's happening. There are people who work with SAP analytics. I don't think they will ever be defined data and AI engineers, to be honest. Enterprise architects, cool, but I now I'm confused why integrate is the only thing that enterprise architect they architect. So that's what the job is. So very weird. But then, but then I was like, but where are functional people though? So where are functional consultants here? So functional guys, if you're worried if AI is taking your jobs, I guess you just got gone here. So maybe honestly, you should be worried at this point because you're not part of this diagram at all. And yeah, so dual capabilities, no, not even comments. This is the most bizarre stuff to me because I have no idea what this is. Like, what are these icons? It's
Yeah,
like, is this
like
like
I
C,
recognize
C plus
concur.
plus? Like,
I
is
think that
this
C
like,
is concur, but the rest I have no idea what those are.
what are these like book, some kind of what looks like
Like
bookmark
they resemble the
box?
Microsoft things to
Yeah,
me.
like Microsoft or like Google, like because Google redesigned in very stupid ways
Oh,
their
that's right.
Gmail and whatever. So now it's impossible to understand what is what. But I've never in my life seen this icon. They must mean something to someone. And I'm like, but where is like SAP ERP in this diagram? Is this one of these icons? I'm just so super confused. Honestly, I think SAP should have just, I don't know, put maybe words here. And if we just, so I don't, again, I don't want to go in full detail over this diagram, but moving to the next layer, this is where it gets really polluted. So this is somehow SAP BTP, of course, and note how now IT operations is for some reason just here and here, even though honestly, this whole diagram is IT operations responsibility areas as far as this usually goes. So
Can
again,
you can you imagine the number of people who said, "Ah, but you have to do X
yeah,
on this diagram"?
yeah.
My God.
Yeah, yeah. And then they're like, well, yeah, we need to add somewhere. Yeah, we need to sell this. So where do we add this? Let's add it here. No, no. So I imagine countless hours of discussions and committee meetings and just, and I'm sure some people are still super unhappy about this diagram at SAP. And maybe you are watching this right now and they're like, God damn it, Johannes! I told you this does not go here. And now this damn boring enterprise nerds, they are commenting on this. I told you, Johannes. I told you so. Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, guys, if someone is upset about this, you got our support. So
By the way,
yeah.
one I have one prediction for this too,
Hmm.
is that somewhere on this chart it says SAP Business AI,
Mm.
and wherever it
It's
says
like
that, it
right
doesn't
here.
make sense.
And it's best custom business AI in the business poll. So do not forget that. So again, SAP build. I I have so many questions about the weird placement of ABAP everywhere. Like ABAP is here, ABAP Cloud. For some reason, Eclipse is here. Then ABAP environment is here, and I just honestly this layer, I'm like, I don't know. I guess maybe for someone who is working just like within like one of those A, B, C, D areas, to them, maybe like their square makes sense.
You know
I
what this
don't know.
diagram is like
Yeah.
those AI pictures
Hmm.
where from like 10 feet away you're like, oh, that's kind of nice. And then you
Yeah.
zoom in and everybody
Yeah.
has like nine
Yeah.
fingers and like two faces and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
And you can clearly see there is so much content here that someone really like, yeah, we need to pile up stuff and just mention everything. And like because ABAP, like nobody cares. That's like all we have to say about ABAP and
Yeah.
development. Like, who cares? Nobody cares. And then AI is more, and then business data is like the whole thing. And then again, best integration. Let's not forget this is the bestest of the
Yes.
best. I am also kind of slightly confused about SAP integration suite and the whole like bunch of things underneath. But I don't know. Again, I hope it makes sense to someone. The useful part, though, I do want to acknowledge that on the side, again, very strange location, there is some links to specific SAP websites, which I think to someone, if you have not seen this, it's probably useful for you to get those links
Yeah.
and go explore there. So that's kind of nice. And yeah, so this is available in PDF, and you can just download and explore this very strange and bizarre diagram from outer space. So I don't know. So that's that's kind of all we have time for. All right. So Wish, okay. So moving away from this whole diagram business, let me just close this. My second subject will be, strangely enough, about aliases. And I wrote about exceptions in ABAP in our previous issue and got some really good feedback. I thought before writing, I thought it's very kind of not really niche subject, but it's nothing new. It's been written about a lot, and I just decided to write about this. And surprisingly, there was quite a bit of feedback, and some people actually liked it. So I dug up some of my really old thoughts that I have written a while ago about use of aliases in select statements. Um, and I'm just going to write about this stuff. So
Mm,
this will be kind of um, technical story where I do have some thoughts about how people, I think, do not understand what this actually is and using this aliases in a very strange way. And I just wanted to point out that in ABAP, we usually use aliases for tables. So we use like select like from VBAC or VBAP, whatever, these are sales order tables. And we
yeah.
do like as and assign one letter. But when I went to look at just the general SQL aliases, strangely enough, it mostly, so here aliases are actually mostly used on the columns. So there is a lot of explanation how to use this on columns. And when they say, yeah, like alias is used on table, and let me see if I can find this comment here. So, so very interesting comment. It might seem useless to use aliases on tables, but when you're using more than one table in your queries, it can make the SQL statement shorter. So, strangely enough, because all the examples in ABAP help, they always use alias. So all of them is like scar as C. Many people don't realize that alias is actually optional. It is listed as optional here, but I find that almost no one actually knows this. And I just wanted to point out in this video this kind of disconnect from SQL where they're
Right.
like, well, I mean, you can use alias for a table, but why would you? You know, it doesn't really make much sense because you can use table name. But in ABAP, it's kind of almost the opposite. So
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting point. Um, all right, Paul, any any notes from you
No,
on
but
like
this is one of those things that for me, because like I worked with Oracle and SQL Server and a couple other RDBMSs before I joined
mhm.
into the ABAP world, and this one too for me, I was like, oh, this is a little different flavor.
Yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. All right. And last but not least, this post, again from LinkedIn, is what kind of prompted me to think about this yet again. And it's really, again, not a new subject, not some kind of new technology announcement, but this person, Rafa, I'm honestly, I'm just so envious that he was able to put in words so succinctly something that I completely 100% agree with, but I haven't wrote it this way. Like I totally wish I would have written this exactly like he said, because he talks about essentially keeping it simple, about simplicity versus complexity, or maybe more kind of advanced or more edgy implementation of the code or kind of general software engineering. I just totally was on board when he said um, most problems aren't special. They don't need brilliance, they need clarity. And from my personal experience, I think it's much more effective when something is simple versus when it is maybe more like extravagant or brilliant or modern or any adjective, honestly, you can say about this. Because at the end, we deal with different developers in our teams and different developers who might be following us, and simplicity is just common denominator that everyone understands and appreciates. So if I would never sacrifice simplicity and readability more specifically just to kind of flex my development muscle, and I think it's just a good kind of guiding star for every, especially senior developer, because I think there is some maybe push from some of the misguided influencers and from some of the developer advocacy, like, oh yeah, like we need to do like modern ABAP and use this new syntax for no reason whatsoever sometimes, which just makes the code unreadable and people like cannot understand what you wrote. And
Yep.
to me, as always, I say simplicity is ultimate elegance. So keeping it simple has been great principle for centuries. I think it remains to be greatest principle in software development. And I think 1001st story on this subject is kind of justified. So that's all for me. And over to you, Paul.
Okay. Um, so let me share my screen. I have I have a theme for this upcoming nerd letter,
Ooh.
and that theme is ranting because
My
so
favorite.
this 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 particular video that we're recording now is going to come out before another video that you and I did where we discussed some things happening in the
Yeah,
SAP,
some
some various
hot
things here and there.
subjects. Yep. Hmm.
Yeah, and so in that video, and I don't want to like I don't want to either spoil it or like rehash it or whatever because
Mm,
that'll come out the week after or whatever. But basically, um, we talked about like several subjects that come up in community discussions a
mm,
lot. And in the video, I found myself like because you put together a document and I read through it and I threw together something on ChatGPT to be snarky about some other things, but we mostly stuck to the stuff in the document you put together.
mm,
And then when we did the video, I was like, oh my gosh, I am just like overflowing with something in my brain
mm,
with all these things that we're talking about. So I decided that there are three things that I can actually do separate rants about. So I'm
mm.
going to do three separate rants. Two of them
Awesome.
are from the Reddit comments that you put in that doc. So thank you, Elena.
Mm.
Those are really helpful. Like I had a couple other stories flagged to kind of write about some things. And then we did the video and I was like, screw it. This is like my brain is way more engaged on this. So one is the this particular one tickles me in a couple ways because this person here is like the distinction we used in the video that you did very well was like there's a difference between AI delivered in SAP and AI that makes use of SAP in
Hmm.
some way, right? There's a very big difference between those things. And there's also a very big like gap in the world in terms of people understanding capabilities for things
Hmm.
with that stuff. And I think that there is a lot of education still needed in the ecosystem about like so many things. Like
Yeah.
one thing I think is that the term AI is broken
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
right? That term is broken because to some people it just means like it has just replaced in their head RPA, right?
Mm.
For some people, that term means predict my sales for next quarter, which is not wrong, I guess, but that's also not everything it is. And for some people, that term exclusively means the things like ChatGPT, the
Yeah.
things like Claude or whatever. And then SAP comes along with this umbrella term of like SAP Business AI, which also kind of mixes all of those things together in really weird
Yeah.
ways too. I mean, they're not weird. They're geared toward business processes. I just think the umbrella term kind of wrecks the the zeitgeist of the idea in the world. It wrecks the meme of AI when like you look under the covers of that and it's like anything under the sun that touches a computer, there's a chance you might find it in SAP Business AI somehow, right? So there's that too. So there's several things, even in just inside this one thing that I got to rant about a little bit.
Mm.
But I think the big thing is like everybody from like hyperscalers to large application vendors like SAP to whoever, stop wrecking this term. It's wrecked now in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that. The other one was from the Reddit stuff was that this was a great post on the SAP subreddit. And again, this is this is also something that has two angles. My God, I could rant about 10 different things in these things. So one thing is there's a funny sub rant here where this person asked the question, could SAP eventually reach a point where all of its products are so user-friendly and straightforward to implement? And by that time, all of us who've worked in SAP at all are just like laughing and crying
Yeah,
and vomiting and whatever else. Like we all are like, nope.
yeah,
The answer is no.
yeah. Or
But
like that good fellas meme, like, ah.
yeah. Okay, so there's that. But then the second part of that question is like can it become something that the role of consultants becomes obsolete?
Mm,
And like there's a lot to say about what consulting is these days. And I think, and this is again, I'm going to repeat part of the video, but this bears repeating, is that like for those of you who are just thin layers on top of Google searching for whatever you're doing,
yeah,
yeah, your future is in jeopardy. Yeah, stop doing it that way. Yeah, that sucks. Don't do that. Like, whether we even call it consultant in the future or not, I don't know. And like, I'm not sure whether I like or dislike the fact that consultants exist, but the need for them and those people being competent in things is important in a way that is encapsulated much better than just like showing up and screwing around and going home. So there's a whole future of what it might mean to be an SAP consultant that I think will probably still exist for quite a while. But
not
like
according to the diagram. So that's a big picture. It's already written them off completely. So
like maybe I
bye,
just need to
functional guys. It
maybe
was nice knowing you.
like maybe I just need to put like a that blue jewel diamond like right on top of
Yeah,
this page or
yeah.
whatever. But yeah. So there's that. And then so I'll stop sharing because I don't have the other thing. But the other
Mhm.
thing I want to rant about is we had a discussion about software development. And I like every day, I mean, I work at a company where we are doing things that do some parts of the software development process, but like even now as I work super closely in constructing agents and constructing things, I see the seams. I see the places where like even if there's a lot to say in this rant, but I'll say it this way. Even if I could just whisper a little thing to a computer and it would write the code for me, even if that code was perfect, you would still need software developers
Yeah,
because all of the rest of the ancillary stuff is still such a huge part of the time that the need for what developers do, I don't see that going away. There's like a reverse, there's a different side to this pancake here, which I think is that like also fellow developers, anybody watching this, anybody listening to this, please believe me when I say like your your role might be safe, maybe, I don't know, seems like it. But what you do in that role is going to change. It
mm,
is absolutely going to change. And I don't mean you're going to come to work one day and they're going to hand you a shovel and you got to start digging a ditch. But what I mean by that is like if the tools give you more superpowers to be more productive, whatever shape that takes, whether it's 10% or 100% more productive, whatever shape that takes, the necessary work to do the next thing or the things that are unlocked by that will automatically rise to meet that new productivity, right? New productivity is always met by like new demand and new needs. So
yeah,
if you and your team are 5x better now at delivering what you were delivering before, you're going to get 5 times as many requests from the business for things to deliver.
yeah,
So think about what it means when you are able to be more productive. Gosh, as I say that, I even think about that too in terms of like also as a human being, don't let yourself get trapped into I can be more productive, ergo I ought to be more productive,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
still at 5 o'clock, turn your computer off,
Yeah.
right? Go home and touch grass, right?
Mm.
Even if you can do let's just imagine you can do 5 times as much stuff. Who knows, whatever the number is. Like that still doesn't mean that you should dedicate yourself to doing 5 times as much.
Yeah.
You should dedicate yourself to doing what you need to do to live your life.
Yeah.
And maybe you like doing that and that's fine, but extra productivity is also going to lead to extra pressure on people to be even more
And burnout as well. Yeah.
burnout. I think it's going to be counterproductive for some people where you might think that, oh, if AI can do all this stuff, then sweet, all of my I can coast to work on my skateboard and take 6 hour lunches or whatever. But what's actually going to happen is you're just going to be asked to do more.
Yeah.
And you have to watch out for yourself when that happens to
Yeah.
yourself.
And
So yeah,
I kind of detest when people think about development jobs that if you're not sitting there like typing something, you're not working. But the course of development is that the job never leaves your head, essentially.
yeah,
I might just, you know, step away from my laptop, but sometimes I'm taking a shower and I suddenly have some realization that, problem maybe that I try to solve during the day, I suddenly see a different angle on it or I find a
yep,
solution. So I had moments where I literally had to kind of go back to my laptop and like 2 a.m. and just do something because otherwise I would forget or I just
yeah,
I wouldn't be able to sleep if I don't test whether my idea works or not. So it is
yeah,
kind of a blessing and the curse of the profession. And to just to add a little bit to this the same point of our developers or consultants going to become obsolete. You know that I'm a huge fan of the Expanse series, and which is based on books as well. I haven't read the book, so I only watched the TV series, and I perceive it as as quite, I think, well informed kind of glimpse into our potential future because it's not like totally wacky like they're alien races etc type of sci-fi. It's kind of very practical sci-fi. I think it's the most I would say it's like kind of least sci-fi of all sci-fi series. And it takes place in I don't know I think few centuries later maybe, but in that series there are still one of the main characters. He's a essentially developer kind of for the ship, so he is a pilot of spaceship, but he also works on developing software that runs a ship that
hmm
manages our navigation system. And there are episodes where he talks about it how, oh okay, today I like improved our navigation service or today I made some changes in that. So software developers definitely are not becoming obsolete completely, and you will not see him of course sitting with SAP GUI and writing a report in ALV or something, but profession still exists. So
yeah,
I have high hopes for developers. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Thank you so much, for Paul, for sharing.
Okay, so guys, that wraps up our super brief 957th Nerdletter Talk episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, smash the bell, leave a comment. If you hate what we write, leave a comment there too. I'm sure our rants always inspire people who are like, nah, you're wrong, whatever. Go ahead and say that. Like, we like to hear people do that. But anyway, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.